Welcome back to the shadowy depths of the Underdark. Your journey has been a daunting saga, replete with the suffocating, ever-present dread that only the darkest, most forgotten corners of the world can instill. Your tale began in the grim confines of a drow prison, a stark, claustrophobic dungeon where you were shackled among other unfortunate souls, all ensnared by the drow. Your relentless attempts to escape proved futile. However, with each failure, you amassed crucial knowledge about your grim surroundings, ever in search of an exploitable flaw. Your cells were located in a drow outpost known as Velkenvelv, precariously perched high upon the cave ceiling. The entire structure was covered in the webs of giant spiders, and roped bridges linked massive stalactites that were transformed into livable quarters for your captors. Your next dreaded destination, as slaves for the Dark Elves, was set to be Menzo Baranzan, the infamous drow city of spiders. Your chief captor was Ilvara Mizram, a dark priestess of Loth and the iron-fisted commander of Velkenvelv. Ambitious and cruel, Ilvara's tyranny was ever present. Her sadism was witnessed by all, with the chilling and swift execution of Ront, an orc from the Ice Shield tribe, as he was hurled from the cliffs of Velkenvelv to meet his demise in the abyss below. During your captivity, you encountered the Quagoth, feral, hulking creatures native to the Underdark. Often referred to as deep bears, these savage humanoid beasts possessed limited intellect, but were bred to obey the drow without question. Your path also crossed with Jorlin Duskrin, the former drow lieutenant under Ilvara's command. That is, before a devastating encounter with the Great Ooze that mutilated his fingers and marred his face with horrific scars. Ilvara, repulsed by his disfigurement, swiftly replaced him with a younger, unscarred drow. Spurned and stripped of favor, Jorlin turned ally by freeing you from your cells. It was apparent he was scheming to place the blame on Shora Vandry, Ilvara's new lover and trusted lieutenant. Though he released you, Jorlin made it clear that he would not aid you further. Your fate was yours to decide, and he remained indifferent to your survival. In the ensuing chaos, you battled drow guards in a fierce attempt to reclaim your belongings. As the skirmish intensified, drawing more drow, spiders, and Quagoths into the fray, the ominous echo of otherworldly creatures filled the dark expanse. A grotesque demon, a nightmarish hybrid of humanoid and vulture, swooped through the air. Its gnarled body and expansive wings violently collided with the nearest stalactite barracks. In the pervasive darkness, you glimpsed a second creature, this one a horrific amalgamation of humanoid and fly, its spindly legs shuffling as it emitted a droning sound that permeated the air. It soon became evident that at least 4 of these abominations were present. The cave soon resounded with another crash and the sharp cracking of a giant stalactite as it splintered apart, sending both slaves and drow plummeting into the murky waters below. Amidst the chaos, a great ooze attacked, adding to the pandemonium. Jimjar, the Deep Gnome, and several drow guards were lost in the dark waters. Once ashore, and with the grey ooze vanquished, your group barely had time to gather before a fallen humanoid vulture, known as Avrak, assaulted you. The battle was fierce, but swift, and soon after, your group hastened towards the nearest cave exit. Now, your companions include Flare, Moss, Unthar Kreckstall, and Dan Ethercall, alongside several intriguing figures. Stool, a lonely and somewhat frightened Myconid sprout, yearned to return to his home in Neverlight Grove. He offered to guide you there, promising sanctuary from the drow. Communicating via telepathic rapport spores, he also facilitated communication among your diverse group, translating each language within the minds of your companions. Eldith Feldrun, a spirited and proud female shield dwarf from the dwarven city of Quantogrim. She proposed returning to her city once free from the Underdark's clutches. She implored that, should she fall in battle, her shield and warhammer be returned to her homeland, honoring her people's customs. But Pedo, a keen-minded and mostly courteous male Darrow, native to the Underdark, was fearless in battle and eager to aid your journey to safety. Though sometimes distant, his knowledge of the Underdark was invaluable. He preferred to steer the group towards Gracklestone, the Durgar city he considered safest from the Drow pursuers. While not as overtly malicious as the Drow, the Durgar were known for their own brand of cruelty, constantly seeking to fortify their dominion in the Underdark. Prince Darendil, a hulking Quagoth with a misleading appearance, conversed in refined Elvish. He revealed that he was actually the elven prince of Nelrendenvane, a forest island off the Sword Coast. An evil wizard named Terestor had cursed him into his current form and exiled him to the Underdark. Despite his noble demeanor, when provoked or engaged in battle, Prince Darendil exhibited the savage ferocity typical of a Quagoth, tearing into his prey with primal rage. Then there was Sarath Zikarit, a sullen and disgraced male drow. He remained a mystery. Once seemingly resigned to his fate, he now seemed eager to distance himself from his captors, following their defeat at Velkenvelv. At times he appeared unusually fond of stool, perhaps finding solace in the Myconid's innocent company. There was also Shushar, a Kuatoa, and a self-proclaimed hermit on a quest for enlightenment. He maintained a serene composure despite his imprisonment. Unperturbed by the grim circumstances, he resigned himself to whatever fate might unfold. He suggested that your next destination should be Slubladop, a Kuatoa town near the Dark Lake. It was closest and would offer you refuge from the pursuit of any drow. Also among your group were Topsy and Turvy, sibling deep gnomes, also known as Sverfneblin, from the Underdark city of Blingdenstone. They were captured while foraging for mushrooms near their home. Topsy, the more sociable of the two, tentatively suggested Blingdenstone as a safe haven from the drow, frequently glancing at her brother Turvy as she spoke. After some deliberation, your group had made a decision on where to travel next. And as your group determined to head to Slubladop, your travels were marred by haunting nightmares, a mix of trivial fears and eerie, similar visions that permeated the minds of your companions. En route, your party dispatched a Roctopus, discovered a mysterious egg. After a brief skirmish with goblins, a night of rest was shattered by the gruesome discovery of Turvy's dismembered body, his organs grotesquely arranged on the cave floor, with Topsy nowhere in sight. Upon reaching the outskirts of Slubladop, the initial hostility of the Kuatoa quickly turned to acceptance when they recognized Shushar. The group was ushered across a precarious rope suspension bridge, but not before fending off a drow scouting party, a clear sign that Ilvara was not willing to relinquish her quarry so easily. On the shores of the Dark Lake, you encountered the peculiar village of Slubladop. The Kuatoa inhabitants exhibited unusual behaviors, their movements erratic and their speech reminiscent of underwater bubbles and gurgles, much different than your companion Shushar. In this strange settlement, life seemed a bizarre mimicry of aquatic existence. Plupleen, the archpriest of the Sea Mother, believed you had been sent by divine intervention to aid in a dire local crisis. Many Kuatoa had apparently abandoned the Sea Mother, turning instead to worship Lemigungun, otherwise known as the Deep Father. The archpriest's own daughter, Blaplipod, had declared herself the archpriestess of this new deity. The archpriest Pluplupine convinced the group to help stop his daughter, who had been committed to carrying out humanoid sacrifices at the altar of Lemigungun. The plan was to disguise you as captives to be sacrificed. You were then to spring an attack on Blaplipod and her worshippers, ending their upstart barbaric religion. As the confrontation at the altar of Lemmigungun was imminent, the crowd chanted ominously. More Kuo-toa gathered there than was previously expected. Amidst the ritual, as Bloplipod accepted the sacrificial offerings, Pluplupine struck, sparking a violent clash among the followers of both deities. As chaos and war screams of the Kuo-toa surrounded you, there were other screams, out in the shallow waters. These Kuo-toa were apparently being attacked by something else, and soon the waters ran red with their blood. Amidst the chaos, Bloplipod's proclamation of Lemmigungun resonated as she fatally wounded her father on the blood-soaked altar. Shortly after that, another sound rose above the burbling cries of the Kuo-toa. The dark surface of the water farther out bubbled and began to foam. A thick, oily tentacle bursted forth, followed by another. Then, two monstrous heads broke the surface, both resembling hideous, angry baboons with wickedly curved tusks. Both heads were attached to a single torso, and the monster's red eyes burned with bloodlust and madness. The creature that rose from the dark lake must have stood 30 feet or more, with the water that cascaded down its back and shoulders. Upon reaching its full height, the great demon threw back both heads and roared. Now the Kuo-toa, in an all-out frenzy, scrambled or froze. Some turned on each other no matter what their previous beliefs, their chants morphing into screams of terror. The demon wreaked havoc on the shore, its massive tentacles demolishing docks and hurling bodies with each savage swipe. Your group, maintaining some semblance of composure, aided each other in reaching a boat on the water. Alongside Hemeth, a new Durgar companion, who had narrowly escaped sacrifice himself, you all boarded the vessel and paddled away from the burning village of Sluladop, leaving the terrible destruction behind you. Now, the Dark Lake, despite its name, is not just a lake, but an extensive network of underground rivers, natural tunnels, and canals that connect countless water-filled caverns and chambers across an unfathomable expanse. This vast subterranean waterway stretches for over 100 miles, with cavern ceilings reaching miles high in some places and depths that plunge into the unknown. As your group navigated the treacherous waters, the dwarf Eldith's guidance was heeded carefully. Her knowledge, gained from the past conversations with your former cellmate Jimjar, had led to a suggestion of heading towards Blingdenstone. Eldith believed that Jimjar's people, the Sverfneblin, had established routes to the surface. Trusting her advice, you allowed Pepito to navigate the group towards this city of the Deep Gnomes. Throughout your journey, the Darklake presented numerous challenges. One was an encounter at a giant mushroom house amidst the Glint Marsh, a swamp infused with phasrous crystals, and it revealed a young woman imprisoned in a cage. She recounted a horrifying tale of her abduction by 3 women engaged in dark experiments with the phasrous, including ghastly acts of cannibalism and madness. After aiding her escape, she vanished quickly, advising you to seek out Furzig Bluebeard in Gracklestad for further guidance. Moments after she left, the windows of the mushroom house shattered and your group was ambushed by redcaps. The skirmish was fierce but brief. After that, you rested and continued your perilous trek across the Dark Lake. Later encounters included that with peaceful Durgar traders, and that provided a brief respite from the constant threats on the lake. Hemeth parted ways with your group here, joining the traders on their journey towards Gracklestad, his homeland. Yet, your tranquility was short-lived. A Bander Hob attacked your group, devouring Sareth before your eyes. During the battle, you noticed a familiar boat, the one the young woman had used to escape, but it was now occupied by an old hag who launched a sudden assault. After a tense battle, you defeated both beast and hag, and continued your journey across the Dark Lake, now without your drow companion. Further on the dark waters, your group faced additional trials, including hostile quippers, a swirling whirlpool, and an aquatic troll, These encounters tested your resolve and your ability to stay united as a group, but you succeeded. Nonetheless, the nightmares still continued. Visions of horrid places and things filled your minds. Keeping the madness at bay, your group continued down the lake. Your group eventually brought your boat to shore and continued on land. After resting and walking for a few more days, you came across hook horrors. They proved maddening and deadly, but you also acquired an egg. After leaving the hook horror lair, you were quickly assaulted by gnolls, who ambushed you outside. Maybe they were hunting the hook horrors themselves. After defeating both threats, you ventured further into the darkness. Your travels through the darkness led you to the Pickshine mines, and you met with Daska Pickshine, the overseer of the Svirfneblin mining operation on the outskirts of Blingdenstone. Daska was keen to learn of your survival from the Drow and the demonic encounter on the Dark Lake. She emphasized the importance of your meeting with Dorbo and Seni Digger Maddox, the leaders of Blingdenstone, urging you to help protect a caravan transporting crucial supplies to the city. Your time at the mines was further complicated by an attack from imps and a hoofed demon, cementing Daska's fears of increased demonic activity. Aiding in the defeat of these creatures, your group earned a measure of trust and got the attention of Nami Pathshudder, a young apprentice in need of elemental tokens from the nearby Stoneheart Quarry, used to enhance the city's defenses. After a fierce battle with the Shadow Demon at the quarry, your group secured the tokens and returned to escort the caravan to the city. Navigating the complex maze of tunnels leading to Blingdenstone, your group faced gnolls riding carrion crawlers in a deadly ambush. A harrowing fight ensued, culminating in a clash with a giant Shisuva and its gnoll rider. Victorious but weary, you finally reached Blingdenstone, where your arrival was met with cautious optimism. With Toner by your side, your deep-known caravan's mole handler, you climbed the city steps. At the top of these steps and in front of the gates, Jamorn, a senior guard, warned of recent tensions within the city, including a murder over a gemstone that had left the community on edge. Under the orders of Captain Sark Axebarrel, you were escorted to the Foaming Mug, an inn that offered your first real beds in what felt like an eternity. The next day, your meeting with the Digger Maddox, the unofficial king and queen of Blingdenstone, had commenced. Dorbo and Seni Digger Maddox were the unofficial king and queen of Blingdenstone. They are the ones who led the operation to reclaim the city after it was defeated by the Drow over a century ago. Through your conversation, they revealed their deep distaste for your Drow captors, and also their deep concerns about the demonic forces you encountered. With some deliberation and some insight from Unthar, it was determined that the Dark Lake demon was likely the Demigorgon, a vile demon that should not be present in this world. Although they were sympathetic to your plight, the Digger Maddox were more than hesitant to reveal their secret trade routes to the surface. In fact, it was written in the laws of their people not to reveal these locations or provide maps of any kind. After much frustration, the meeting ended. But hope lingered on as Gapos Tabbleback, a trusted servant of Seni Digger Maddox, let it be known that the Digger Maddox can be persuaded to assist you further. Their laws would allow it, but it would require gaining high favor with the citizens of Blingdenstone. This could be achieved by helping them with a litany of issues that plague the city. These could be outlined as follows. A mysterious and general unrest that was growing in the city. There were were-rats in the northern tunnels, led by Goldwhisker. There were problems in the Rock Blight, including a Medusa, whose dangerous presence is a constant problem. Also, which Captain Axebarrel has offered a large diamond for her head. There was Ogremock's Bane, also in the Rock Blight, a roaming entity apparently corrupting elementals. And the Steadfast Stones in the Rock Blight as well, a desecrated monument near an old temple. The priest Gurnik Tapfinger, a member of an elemental spellcasting society known as the Stoneheart Enclave, has requested it to be cleansed with a spell gem that he had provided. There are also slimes that are seeping through the defenses and attacking the city. There's also the need to trade and cultivate tamarack mold from a myconid colony that is known as Neverlight Grove, the home of Stool. This was explained by the alchemist Kazu Pickshine, who had already hired Toner Goldback, your caravan companion, but he would need help to ensure his success. There was also an errand by Jim Buck Fraknak. He described that there were specially crafted weapons that needed to be retrieved from a blacksmith in Gracklestug. Also in Gracklestug, it was mentioned that a Swerf Neblin cartographer was operating there and that he could reveal an important lost location near Blingdenstone, known as Entomoc's Boon. A secret passage is rumored to belong there and could be opened by magical means by the Stoneheart Enclave, if they have the resources to do so. Your group understood the tasks and were determined to tackle the challenges of Blingdenstone and beyond, hoping each step to bring you closer to finding a way back to the surface world. Your group agreed that heading to Neverlight Grove with Toner might prove fruitful. Now, this caravan was not set to leave until the next day, so your group spent some time in Blingdenstone. You had a conversation with a local ghost in the catacombs, near the temple known as the Ruby and the Rough. This undead catacomb dweller referred to himself as the Burrow Warden Jaeger. He's a deceased Burrow Warden, a type of specialized warrior with special training to deal with Underdark threats. He died over a century ago, when the Drow invading force destroyed Blingdenstone. Remaining as a ghost, he has been training a few eager young Swerf Neblin in the ways of the Burrow Warden. He asked you for assistance as well, with dealing with a threatening ghost, a deep gnome who went mad with grief, and if you could recover the remains of Udkask as well, a gnome who had died in the area known now as the Rockblight. Your group continued on, exploring Blingdenstone, eventually coming across the ghost that Jaeger spoke of and dispatching it. There was also a slime that attacked a deep gnome, covered his face and killed him, but the slime was dealt with by your party as well. Your group eventually made it to the Trader's Grotto, and after being there for a short time, alarms were raised, and 2 gelatinous cubes seeped through a tunnel and began attempting to engulf anyone nearby. The group also helped dispatch them with the local guards, to the relief of members of the market. Wanting to take on more tasks, your group decided to travel into the Rockblight, a forsaken and hostile section of the city, not yet reclaimed by the Swerf Neblin. Your group left through giant doors and entered the Rockblight. The air there was musty, damp, and you could hear the echoes of distant battle, though their sources were indiscernible. The Rockblight, stripped of its former wealth by drow scavengers after the invasion, presented a bleak and barren landscape, filled with the remnants of a once thriving community, now lost to darkness. Navigating through the desolate corridors of abandoned residences, you were suddenly confronted by a spectral presence. A screaming ghost appeared, warning you to hide, before vanishing into the ether. Nearby, you discovered the skeletal remains of a deep gnome, lying in a decayed bed. These remains seemed to be that of Udhask, and your group collected them to be returned to the catacombs. Continuing through the Rockblight, your path led to a water source, sort of large pond or very small lake. It was accompanied by the gentle sound of waterfall. From this water emerged a bizarre creature, 3-legged, 3-armed, and with a body displaying radial symmetry. It followed your group, seemed to be interested in eating your gems, and then it left. Moving on, your group climbed 30 feet up a roughly hewn staircase, and there you encountered a hidden garden filled with mushrooms and sparkling crystalline formations. Your presence here seemed to disturb some kind of peace and awaken 2 perching statues that transformed into aggressive gargoyles. As they swooped down to attack, the ground itself betrayed you, splitting open as a raging earth elemental burst forth. The ensuing battle was fierce and fatal. Eldith Feldrun, the Shield Dwarf scout, who had narrowly escaped death several times before, finally met her end beside her fallen shield and warhammer. Toner, too, who had been charmed into coming into the Rockblight in the first place, fell victim to the elemental's wrath, leaving your group battered and bruised. Your victory was a sour one, but you return to Blinktonstone to rest and regroup. The loss of Toner and Eldith was a heavy blow, but the urgent request of the Kazu Pickshine could not be ignored. Resolved to fulfill his wishes, you prepared to head to Neverlight Grove, with plans to turn towards Gracklestug after, where the cartographer Parchpetal's whereabouts had gone cold, and where Jimbok Fraknak's special weapon shipment awaited retrieval. With a sense of purpose and a grim understanding of the dangers that lay ahead, your group ventured back into the oppressive gloom of the Underdark. Pepito resumed his role as navigator, his familiarity with the dark paths proving invaluable as you pressed forward. It wasn't long into your journey that you encountered a new threat, an ambush by orcs armed with explosives that rocked the tunnel walls around you. The orcs had underestimated their prey, and while several fell to your swift counterattack, this skirmish revealed an even greater danger lurking in the shadows. The drows of Velkenvelv had not forsaken their pursuit. A scouting party, led by Jorlin Deskrin, was first to confront you. The clash was brutal, with poisoned arrows flying in thick volleys. As the battle reached a fevered pitch, Elvira Mizram herself, the drow priestess of Loth and commander of Velkenvelv, appeared, seemingly taking a personal interest in your recapture. However, the orcs' explosives had weakened the structural integrity of the tunnel. Just as Elvira joined the fray, the ground trembled violently beneath your feet, and a vast sinkhole opened, swallowing friends and foes alike. The world turned upside down as you plummeted into another tunnel system below. Bruised but alive, you regrouped, finding not only your party members, but also Jorlin Deskrin among the rubble. Swiftly, you secured him as a prisoner, turning the tables on your former captor. But where were you now? Looking around the rubble, it appeared there was only one path to take, and the group moved forward, further into the darkness, the air flat and stale. Moving cautiously, you came upon a fork in the tunnel. To the right was a dead end, where a great ooze wriggled menacingly down the walls towards you, and after a quick skirmish in which the ooze was dispatched, you continued down the left path, finding a door at its end. Opening the door, you stepped onto paved stone tiles. Dust and rubble had collected in the corners of this chamber, hinting at long abandonment. Another door beckoned you from across the room. As you approached, yet another great ooze emerged, seeping up from the tile floor to attack. After dispatching the second ooze quickly, you opened the next door to reveal a longer hallway. Illuminated by your torches, the passage in front of you revealed a strange sight. A gelatinous cube blocking your path, its transparent body eerily displaying the bones of humanoids and other various debris. A voice unexpectedly broke the silence, like squirming in your mind. "Hello, my name is Globacool. It's nice to meet people." The gelatinous cube had spoken. At this moment, inside its body, there was an amulet that glowed brightly. The sigil on the amulet revealed a great closed eye. And then it opened. Your group was suddenly enveloped in a vision, pulling you deeper and deeper into the mysteries and dangers of the Underdark.